Hello, everyone. Today, well, ExpressLRS or ELRS. That is kind of a big development, and we've seen some products come out, and many of you might be using it. And I know we've talked about it on the channel here a fair bit. And if you're not familiar with ExpressLRS, there's probably only a few main points you probably want to know. Is one, it has by a pretty wide margin the longest range. It also has the fastest packet rate, and that means from your radio to your quad, the signal gets there faster, so tighter control. In theory, we might not be able to tell that or not. It's made by a number of companies, and it's open source. Therefore, a number of companies have the access to the reference design so that they can go and they can make their own. They should be relatively standard, so if you have a module for your radio and you want a particular receiver, you should be able to get it, flash it, bind them up, should work just fine. And we've seen some of these come out already. You know, I've featured the T-Lite module here from Happy Model. We've had the Beta FPV module for the X-Lite and other nano or light modules. We've also seen larger modules. Happy Model's got one that fits in a traditional bay for a radio, something like this. This happens to be the E-Sheen version of the TX16S. It's actually one I quite like for a radio, but my primary is the Jumper T-Lite. But that brings us to what some people might think is maybe a down point. It's open source, so a lot of people have access to it, and the development's really fast and really changing. To others of us, that's exciting. We just like change. We like tinkering. We like to explore. But you know, it kind of depends on where it's at, and it's cheap as beans. It's hard pressed for me to think that its competitors or anybody else in the market's going to come out with cheaper equipment for us to be able to get that feature set. And maybe the last thing is, in micros, I think it's going to dominate. We've already seen Happy Model make a ELRS board. We've seen Beta FPV do the same. Happy Model just advertised another Whoop that's coming ready to go with a 1S board, I believe it is, and ExpressLRS. Flywoo is sending their new micro quad. Many of you have probably seen that on their Facebook and other social media. I'm hoping to review that. I've been told one's coming, but I don't have it yet. It's coming with an EP2 receiver. They're saying it's theirs, but I'm calling it an EP2 because it looks just like an EP2. An EP2 is from Happy Model, and it's a crazy small receiver. It's this thing. I don't even know if I can show this to you. It's so small. With the heat shrink on this, the EP2 weighs 0.6 grams. So adding that to a micro, barely even going to notice. But there are other receivers, and there's other reasons why you might feature those receivers, and that kind of brings us down to today. What module do you get? Well, if you got a T-Lite, you're probably getting the Happy Model version. If you're needing a nano module, you're probably getting the Beta FPV. Happy Model did launch one, but it didn't seem to kind of go full circle. I think it was a limited batch, possibly. So you might be able to pick up a Happy Model version of the nano module that would fit something like the X-Lite or others like it later on down the road. And then we have the Happy Model standard version. But also there's this new company, Namimno, easy for me to say. And I think the reason why some people would pick this up, and I saw a number of people in Discord talking about how they were excited about the build quality and how they laid things out, not only for the module, but also for the receivers. And I would expect the people in the Discord for ExpressLRS to kind of know what they're talking about. Many of those people are engineers and have helped me more than once. Again, I shout out to Deadbite, Alessandro, PI Engineer, Brandon Baked Beans. You were also helping. I appreciate these are kind and knowledgeable folks, and I always appreciate when I jump in there. I probably get undue intention. I have to acknowledge that, but the conversations I've seen going on in Discord, to me, that's a bonus. It feels like what the FPV community to me is. You know, people who want to have fun and are helping each other try to have fun. But this module is probably the one you want to get if you want to go to the highest output power. This one does have a heat shrink, and it also has a fan, and it can run 1 watt. Now, if you look at the Lua on the radio, you'll find that it shows 2 watts, but as of right now, I don't believe that's supported. Another reason why you might want this module is it has supplemental power if we happen to need that for any reason. And there have been some complaints about the Happy Model version of this bay, and that it doesn't, click in real well and that it can move around. I found that this one, it doesn't have that heavy snap, but let me do it for you here. I don't know if my microphone will pick it up. It clicks in, but it doesn't have that snap. And I'm not necessarily looking for the snap, but it's tight in there. I mean, it feels like, well, it feels like a bay should. It feels like it's not going to come out and that you're going to have to actually make an effort to get it out. And that's a good thing. And I really like their antenna. I think their antenna looks good. Let me show you the other side too. It feels solid in the construction. And again, from my understanding in the Discord for ExpressLRS, is Namimno was one of the first companies that kind of was looking into this and was looking at the designs and was considering. So they may have taken the longest to make their choices. Maybe. That's all speculation, but unless you want to spend a lot of time in Discord and talking to people, I'm just trying to help you get some information there. They also have a couple of receivers, and they do have 2 versions. I should say that before we jump down to the receivers. They have the 900 megahertz or the 2.4 gigahertz, depending upon what frequency you want to get. And that's, as far as ExpressLRS goes, really when it comes to the TX modules and the receivers, you just pick the same frequency. You can use any equipment you want as long as it, fits on the bay of your radio. It's ubiquitous. It'll work. Flash it, bind it, run with it. Matter of fact, you don't even have to bind it, really. If you flash it with a passphrase, you just turn it on and they link up. And that's fantastic. So we can have a few other receivers here. And of course, being a micro guy, meaning someone who is looking at weight as a consideration, they do have, it's bigger than the EP2 from Happy Model, and it comes in just slightly heavier than the Happy Model. A receiver with a ceramic antenna, which technically isn't ceramic, it's just what we've been saying. SMD was another common term that was used for a while to describe these little square antennas, but it's made of plastic. And that keeps the weight down, and it also allows you for tighter possible mounting, and you're still going to have outstanding range. Of course, if you're wanting to go out kilometers and kilometers, you probably should have a regular antenna that sticks outside whatever it is you're flying. But for most of us who don't need kilometers and kilometers of range, those little ceramic, plastic, square antennas, they're going to work out great. I really wish Namimno would come out with a module that would work with the T-Lite, because the T-Lite is my radio choice. So if I have any influence there, please make one for the T-Lite. I think that's a problem because of the whole 1S thing. But for years, I did use the X-Lite, and maybe if Namimno would make a light or nano module, I might switch back. Maybe. But I think you should check this out. I think especially if you were looking at a traditional radio like the TX16S. I know this one says eScene on it, but Radio Master. Or any other radio that has this on there. This ExpressLRS is going to seem difficult at first, just like anything in this hobby, but after you do it a time or two, the flashing and stuff, you get used to it. It becomes second nature. You understand, well, I probably need to unplug my cell phone from my computer in order to be able to detect the USB way it needs to, or I need to close down Betaflight or whatever. You figure these things out, and it becomes all kind of second nature, just like anything else in this hobby. And it's kind of fun exploring these new nerdy things. I enjoy it. And obviously, I've gone on longer than I have intended here. I think that these products are cool, and I think you should have one. And I think we're going to see loads of micros go the ExpressLRS route. You can stick with what you've got. There's no absolute reason to upgrade. I know from a review or my excitement standpoint, it can seem like I'm trying to pitch you or sell you on something, but if you've got your equipment and you're happy with it, stay with it. There's no reason to spend another dollar. Go outside, enjoy yourself, have lots of fun, crash, do new tricks, have a good time. But if you're looking at this stuff and you're wondering if you should get one or not, if you're a micro guy, or if you're tired of what FR Sky has been doing with the firmware, or you'd like to pay a little less for your receivers long term, or you want more range, or you want faster controls for that close proximity, lower weight receivers, ease of use, you want to see what the future of ExpressLRS brings, you might check it out. So I not only will I have the Namimno stuff down in the video description, linked of course on Banggood's website. I'll put the Beta FPV and the other ExpressLRS stuff that you can find on Banggood's site. It will just be Banggood this time because they did send me the Namimno. You can find this stuff at other resellers. I expect the Namimno stuff to come stateside. I didn't cover anything about the Wi-Fi. It was a little bit quirky. Again, once you get it going, it's not a big deal. But the reason why I didn't cover it is because it's very likely that only the first batch is going to run that way. If you want to know some of the details behind it and you haven't already heard from someone else, it has a chipset that uses the ESP Wi-Fi manager, and so you don't, when you launch it, you don't get the typical ExpressLRS wireless network that shows on your computer. You see this ESP Wi-Fi manager, you connect to that, then you get this weird interface that doesn't look, again, like ExpressLRS. What you have to do is you actually join that to your home wireless network. So you type in the SSID for your home Wi-Fi and the passphrase, connect it. Then the ESP Wi-Fi manager goes away. You won't see that anymore, not to worry. You launch the ExpressLRS configurator, and then you do the build in Flash with the Wi-Fi as your target. And it will use, what is it, ELRS_TX.local as the URL, and it will find it and flash it. So it's still easy, even with that quirk, as long as you know. I had to get some help figure it out, and there was some confusion, when I was working with the devs in ExpressLRS Discord about what was going on. But we got it figured out, and once you've done it, then it becomes a lot easier. But I didn't cover that because they're likely going to change the chip, and we likely won't see that in secondary batches that come to market. So if you have one of those initial runs, look for the ESP Wi-Fi manager, connect that to your home wireless network, hopefully you have one, and then via the configurator, just do the Wi-Fi targets for whatever you're flashing and use the build and flash, and it will take care of it. You'll actually see data and transfer in there. It actually works quite well once you kind of know what you're looking for and what to do. Like I said, I've gone on way too far tonight. I must have had too much coffee this morning, but it looks like my recording is about 6 minutes longer than I wanted it to be. If you're looking for 1 watt power and you're looking for build quality, I think right now, if you can use this bay size in your radio, the Namimno is the one I would suggest getting. Of course, if you're X-Lite or T-Lite, you're more limited in what you can get. So, and I did notice that this heatsink does get quite warm. I was out flying in the heat, and I usually carry stuff kind of like this, kind of like holding a baby. And that heatsink got hot enough to where I was slightly uncomfortable on my forearm. Of course, it was like 97 degrees outside too. So something to keep in mind. I don't think it suffered any damage, but if yours gets hot, so does mine. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise, please let me know in the comments section below. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching.